Chapter 5, How It All Began. We had lunch with Sarah and Erica. After eating, we started walking home and told them about ourselves. So, you girls are world travelers? Erica asked. Yeah, you could say that. We travel to different alternate universes to, well, save the world, Emily explained. Then why are you here? I mean, this universe doesn't have the same dangers you're used to fighting, Sarah said. That's because my sister thought it would be a nice idea to attend school here. We passed away before we could graduate, and our parents lived here before we were born. So after a little convincing, we decided to move here, Emily explained. I came along for the dust screening, Mabel said. We went to California by accident. That's where we met Mabel and her brother Mason. After hearing about Mabel's wishes to go to see the screening, we agreed to bring her along, but she's only staying until it's over, Amy explained. Well, I'm sure we'll become good friends while you're here, Erica said. So, we better take you girls home. Where do you live? Sarah asked. Don't worry, we can walk back ourselves. Thanks for hanging with us, and it was nice meeting you, Amy said. Well, we should at least know where you live if we want to hang out with you, Erica said. Okay, I guess we could show you the house. If that's okay with you, Amy, I said. Yeah, she's right. Follow me us. It's not far from here, Amy said. Hey, do you girls know 3 boys named Ethen, Benny, and Rory? I asked. Yeah, I never thought about it, but Rory kind of looks like you. Are you his sister? Emily asked Erica. Emily, Jane told me Rory doesn't have any siblings, I said. Oh yeah, she did say that, didn't she? Sorry, Erica, Emily said. No, it's okay. I get that a lot. And I don't even know the kid. I think I've seen him and his friends around town, but I've never talked to them, Erica explained. They do seem younger than you. They're starting their freshman year next week, Emily said. Well, it sounds like a nice time to get to know them, if we're not overloaded, Erica said. Trust me, you'll see them with us a lot. Whenever we make new friends, they stick with us, Emily said. Hey, we're coming up to our street. We should be home soon, I said. I look forward to seeing where you girls live, Sarah said. We made it home and showed Sarah and Erica around. We also showed them the pet fantasy eggs and our Kirby copy ability hats. After a little while, it was time for them to head home. See you girls later, I said. Yeah, it was fun hanging out with you. Anyway, it looks like your other friends are looking for you, Sarah said, pointing to Ethen, Benny, and Rory waving at us. Hi, boys! Bye, Sarah. Bye, Erica, I said, hugging them and running up to see my new friends. Wow, she must really like them, Sarah said. Yeah, she does. She also really likes Rory. They've been inseparable since yesterday, Emily explained. Sounds like someone has a little crush, Erica said. Yeah, it does, Emily realized. Anyway, we'll see you guys later. Bye, guys, Sarah said, leaving with Erica. Hey, Benny. Hey, Ethen. Hey, Rory, Emily greeted. Hey, girls. Saw you made some new friends, Ethen said. Yeah, we met them when we were getting Mabel her dust tickets, I explained. That's awesome. It sounds like you're making a lot of new friends here, Ethen said. We have a gift, Emily said. Anyway, we were wondering, since you just moved in, and we're starting our freshman year together, Ethan and I want to invite you to hang out with us Sunday night, while his parents are out on their date, Benny explained. Isn't that a little irresponsible? Amy asked. Don't worry, we do this all the time. All you have to do is look after Jane. It will be fun, Ethan said. Well, it does sound like fun. Will you be there, Rory? I asked. I'll be hanging out a little bit, but I can't stay the whole time, he explained. Really? Why not? Cindy asked. I live an hour away. It's not easy for me to walk to and from my house with my asthma. Plus, my mom wants me to have an early night, so I don't fall asleep during my classes, Rory explained. That's too bad, but I understand. I hope we can hang out at school, I said, feeling a little disappointed. I'm sure we will, but you guys have fun without me, Rory said. That's nice of you, Rory. What do you say, girls? Want to go? Emily asked. I think it could be fun, Amanda said. It would be a nice chance to get to know each other better, Lizzie said. I think you're right. Sure, we're in, Amy said. Great, I'll tell my parents you're coming too, Ethan said. Anyway, I have to head home. See you later, Benny said. Hey, Benny, is it okay if we come with you? We want to meet your family, Amy said. Yeah, we met Ethan's, but not yours, I said. Sure, you can come. My grandma wants to meet you anyway, Benny said. Great, so what's your family like? I asked. Well, I never paid attention to what my dad does for a living. I think he's a handyman or something, but I know it pays well. He's rarely around, though. Plus, I'm normally with Ethan, so we don't see each other often, Benny explained. What about your mom? I asked. My mom left us when I was 8 years old, Benny said sadly. Oh, Benny, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have asked, I said, feeling guilty. No, it's okay. Their marriage was rocky from the start. They thought the only way to save it was to have me. Well, years passed, and things only got worse from there. They were fighting all the time, and it got so bad that I normally stayed at Ethan's or my grandma's old house. Anyway, when I turned 7, they realized enough was enough and decided to get a divorce. 3 weeks before the papers came in, Dad found out Mom was having an affair when everything was finalized. She ran away with her new boyfriend and got married 2 years later. I haven't seen her since, Benny explained. Benny, I am so sorry, but why does your grandma live with you? Chloe asked. When Mom left, Dad still wanted a mother figure for me, so after Grandma started caring for me more than Mom did, he thought having Grandma move in was the best choice. Plus, Dad's always been worried about Grandma's health, even though she can look after herself just fine, Benny explained. Well, at least you're surrounded by people who love you, I said. Yeah, I am, aren't I? Benny said, feeling better. Well, this is my house, Benny said. Cool place, I said. There you are, Benny. Dinner's almost ready. Oh, hi, Rory. Ethan. Oh, who's this? An old woman asked. Hi, my name's Amy, and these are my friends. Dakota, my sister Emily, Cindy, Chloe, Amanda, Lizzie, Mimi, and Mabel, she explained. Oh, so you're the girls that moved in. Benny told me about you. My name is Evelyn Weir. I'm Benny's grandmother, she said. Nice to meet you. Benny told us about you. I said, did he? Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to give you some homemade cookies, Mrs. Weir said, handing us a tin of cookies. Awesome! Grandma Weir's homemade cookies, my favorite! Ow! Rory said, reaching for one, only to get his hand slapped away from Mrs. Weir. Rory, those are for the girls, not you, she said sternly. Sorry, you know I can't resist. Rory said, causing me to giggle. Don't worry, Rory. I'll share. It wouldn't be fair to keep them all to ourselves, I said. Yeah, we'll let you take some home. Now come on, let's head home and get something to eat, Emily said. See you later, Benny, I said. Nice meeting you, Evelyn, Emily said. Yeah, see you girls tomorrow, Benny said as we walked home. Mrs. Weir seems nice, I said. Yeah, she does. You know, there's something magical about her, but I can't put my finger on it, Emily said. So, tell me about these friends you met, Ethan said. Their names are Sarah and Erica. We met them at the school when we were getting Mabel her tickets. They were the ones in charge of handing out the dust tickets. You know, Erica kind of looks like you, Rory, I said. I get that so much. Anytime a friend of hers sees me, they think I'm her brother, and I don't even know her. I mean, I see her at the bookstore whenever a new dust novel comes out, but I've never spoken to her. Who knows, maybe this year, I'll finally talk to her. But I get a little shy talking to girls. I'll probably just weird her out, Rory said. Well, you talk to us pretty well. I'm sure you can muster up the courage to talk to her. Also, we'll be hanging out with them from time to time, Emily said. Thanks, Emily. I'm sure I can put fear behind me to talk to her if I see her. Anyway, I gotta head home. See you girls later, Rory said. Rory, wait, Mabel said. Yeah? He replied. Can I take a picture with you and Dakota? Mabel asked. Really? Why? I asked. Because I want something to remember you. For when I head home, Mabel said. Sure, I would love to, Rory said. Yeah, Emily, could you take the picture? I asked. Sure. Say cheese, she said, holding up her phone. Cheese, we said, posing. Hey, that came out great, Emily said. Let me see, I said as she showed us the picture. Wow, I need to get that developed, Mabel said. And I need to get that framed, I said. I'll get this developed inside, Emily said. Can you send me one too? I think that picture will look great in my wallet, Rory said. Sure, I'll send you a small one, Emily replied. Thanks, Emily. I have to go now. I'll see you guys tomorrow, Rory said. I have to go too. See you guys, Ethan said, walking away with Rory. Bye, Ethan. Bye, Rory. See you guys soon. Anyway, I'm heading inside. Gotta get dinner ready, Emily said. Hi, Rory. He's so cute, I said, causing Mabel to look smugly at me. What? Why are you looking at me like that? I asked. Uh-oh, somebody's in love, Mabel said. What? No way, Mabes. I just think Rory's cool and all. Besides, you and I both know I don't have a chance with him because of my age. Plus, I just see him as a friend, I said. Keep telling yourself that, sister. Maybe you'll believe it, Mabel said. And I'm telling you, I just see him as a friend. I mean, it's not like I stay awake thinking about him, I said, hand inside. But deep down, Mabel was right about me, because I could tell, inside my heart, it was slowly falling in love with Rory. During dinner, I had trouble eating. My tummy was full of butterflies, and my mind kept wandering to Rory. Dakota, you haven't eaten anything since I gave it to you. Thinking about Rory again? Emily asked. What? No! What makes you think that? I asked, trying to hide the truth. Well, you looked a little confused. You've been staring off into space for 15 minutes now, and your cheeks are burning red, Amy pointed out. They are? I asked. I looked at my reflection and saw that my cheeks were a shade of red. Realizing this made my face turn even redder, making me cover my face and hide under the table. Well, that answers that question, Cindy said. You like him, don't you, Dakota? It's okay, you can tell us. We won't make fun of you. Well, most of us won't, Chloe said, looking at Emily and Mabel. I don't like him that way. I just think he's cute. Can a girl think someone's cute without it automatically being a crush? I asked. Well, it's normally the beginning stages, but you do have a point. Also, you're 10 and Rory's almost 14. 15. That's a big age gap for someone your age. Plus, you shouldn't be in high school for another few years. I'm not saying you shouldn't show him you care, but what I'm saying is don't let your feelings turn romantic. You're too young to understand what love truly means between someone who isn't a part of your family. Understand? Emily asked. I understand, Emily. You're right, I am too young for him. But that doesn't stop the fact that Rory makes me feel great, I said. That's great to hear. It's nice to see you made a friend that makes you happy. Now come on, you need to eat, because I've got something special for dessert, Emily said. What'd you get, Ems? Mabel asked. You'll have to wait and find out, Emily said. And with that, I started eating. After dinner, we had an ice cream cake Emily got at the store. After that, most of us went up to our rooms. Amy, Emily, Cindy, Chloe, Isabanda, Lizzie, and Mimi shared the master bedroom. One person's beds were lined up neatly along the wall. You'll be surprised what Emily can do with limited space. Amy was making the beds while Emily was staring out the window. She couldn't stop thinking about the possibility of me being in love with Rory. Hey, what's gotten you staring off into space? Did you meet a cute boy too? Amy asked. What? No! Come on, Amy, you know I gave up on dating years ago, Emily said. All right, then, what's on your mind? Amy asked. I think Dakota's fallen in love with Rory, Emily replied. You're figuring this out now? We all know she's attracted to him. What's so bad about it? It's just a simple crush, Amy said. The problem is, you know how Dakota can get when she's in love. She gets really obsessive and it worries me. I was hoping she'd grow out of this by now, but it seems like she's fallen in love all over again, Emily said. Come on, Ems, it's no big deal. It's normal to have a childhood crush. As long as neither of them takes things too far, they should be fine. Besides, even when Dakota is obsessing, she's never gotten her first real kiss. She knows her boundaries. She might be 10, but she's not stupid, Amy said. You're right. Dakota would never take things too far. Plus, Rory doesn't seem like the type of person that takes advantage of others. Now that I think about it, it seems like he's the one that gets taken advantage of, Emily explained. No arguments there. So, feeling better? Amy asked. Actually, there's one more thing that's been bothering me, Emily said. And that would be? Amy said. There's something off about Jesse, Emily said. Jesse? You heard what Erica said. Jesse might come off as intimidating, but he means well, Amy said. No, I'm serious. There's something off about that guy. You didn't feel it, but I felt this dark aura around him. I think he's up to no good, Emily said. Or maybe you're just paranoid, Amy said. Are you calling me a liar? Emily exclaimed. No, of course not. We've been to so many alternate universes that had the villain hiding in plain sight. But in our universe, twist villains don't happen like that. What I'm saying is you're seeing someone who seems like they're up to no good, and you automatically associate them with our past experiences. Also, your trust issues towards boys don't help either. Jesse may seem bad, but I bet once you get to know him, you two will make great friends, Amy said. You're right, as usual, but I still think something is not right about him, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it, Emily said. As long as you don't do anything illegal, Amy sighed. Meanwhile, I was having trouble falling asleep. Thoughts about Rory kept swirling around in my head, and butterflies in my tummy weren't helping either. Uh-oh, I said aloud, realizing I was staying awake thinking about him. I knew it! Mabel exclaimed. Ah! I screamed, turning on the light to see Mabel lying on the floor, smiling widely. How long were you lying there for? I asked. Long enough to know that you really do have a crush on Rory, Mabel said. Okay, fine, I admit it. I'm attracted to him. I don't know if I'm in love with him or not, but do you know that feeling where you have to get to know someone? Well, I feel that way about Rory, I explained. To be honest, I feel that way about him too, Mabel said. You like him too? I asked. Well, normally whenever I see a boy, I fall in love immediately. But I don't feel that way about Ethen or Benny. Ethen reminds me of my brother. He seems a little uptight and paranoid about some things. Benny, I don't know. He seems like he could be a bad influence. I'm not saying he's toxic or anything, but it seems like he gets in trouble a lot. But sweet little Rory, I feel like he could do no wrong. He's just too pure for this world, Mabel said. I agree with you. Rory's a little bundle of sunshine. I admit he might lack in the smarts department, but where he lacks in brains, he makes up for with a heart of pure gold, I said. Too bad we're too young for him, Mabel said sadly. Nah, it's fine. Ellie would freak out if she found out I was in love with Rory. Plus, who knows what my parents would think when they hear I'm in love with a teenager. I'll never hear the end of it, I said. I guess you're right. My parents would think I've gone insane if they found out I've fallen in love with someone 2 years older than me, living in another country, Mabel said. Actually, 2 years isn't that bad, I said. It is when you're our age, Mabel said. Fair enough. So what do we do? I asked. I say let's not worry about it. I'm leaving in 2 weeks, you're leaving in a few months. I think we can keep our feelings from him until they go away, which is easier said than done. But I've got one more question, Mabel said. Which would be? I asked. If Rory was a vampire, how would you feel about that? She asked. Well, that's a little random. Why would you ask that? I replied. Well, I love vampires, and I think Rory would make a cute one. Not one of those bloodthirsty, always killing people vampires. We're like one of those social misfits that just wants to hang out with his friends. Or in this case, hang out, Mabel said. Caused me to giggle. I guess if Rory were a vampire, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, I've always had a magical life, so being friends with a vampire would fit right in. Plus, I think it would be fun flying through the town with him in the dead of night, I said. I agree. It would be awesome! If only I could fly. I know vampires don't exist, but Jesse and his friends seem to fit the criteria, Mabel said. Oh, first Emily and now you? I asked. What do you mean by that? Mabel asked. Emily says there's something off about him. I would say she's paranoid if it wasn't because I feel there's something off about him too. It's more than just a bad boy persona. There's something sinister under there, I explained. I think you're right. Sarah seemed tense around him, and that's weird since she's dated him, Mabel explained. That is weird. We might want to keep an eye on Jesse. This could mean trouble, I said. Well, I'm headed to bed. It was nice talking to you, Dakota. We should do this more often, Mabel said. Yeah, thanks, Mabes. I feel better now that I got to talk about my feelings. I'm happy to call you my friend, I said. I'm happy too. When I move back home, I hope we will stay friends, she said. Of course we will. Best friends forever, I said. Good night, girl, Mabel said, leaving. Good night, Mabel. Sweet dreams, I said, turn off the light and lying back down. After talking to Mabel, I felt more comfortable about my possible crush on Rory. So much so that my butterfly stopped and I was able to get to sleep. Saturday morning, nothing much happened. We spent time with Ethen, Benny, Rory, Sarah, and Erica. Not at the same time, but all of us were becoming great friends. I was becoming pretty close with all of them, but Rory was my best friend. Whenever I was near him, I was always so happy, and even when he left, his energy always seemed to linger long enough to keep me smiling. All in all, I loved Rory, and my love for him was growing every day. Mabel really seemed to love him too. Maybe it's because we have similar personalities, but the three of us were becoming true friends with each other. Ethen and Benny were especially happy to see Rory found 2 new best friends, who were girls, despite the age gap between us. Wow, Dakota, Mabel, and Rory are really becoming 3 peas in a pod. And those 3 have only known each other for 2 days now, Ethen said. Seeing the 3 of us laughing together. Sounds like Rory made a friend for life, Emily said. I gotta admit, even though they're a few years apart, they look cute together, Benny said. Yeah, well, Dakota's kind of like Rory, so it's no wonder they get along so well, Ethen said. Rory doesn't have many friends, does he? Chloe asked. How'd you know that? Benny asked. Well, he's always here, and you don't talk about your other friends. It's like you only have each other, Amy said. It's true, none of us really do. We have friends, but they're not close to us. It's been this way since grade 1. We've been picked on, made fun of, laughed at, and even bullied. All because we're geeks, nobody wants to hang out with us. We met Rory on the playground when he was the new kid, and everyone was avoiding him. That's when Betty and I decided he really needed a friend, so we talked to him at the sandbox, and we've been inseparable ever since. Rory has had trouble making friends like Benny and me, but for him it's different. He's always just regarded as the weird kid. While most of us grew and matured, Rory stayed more or less the same. He never really outgrew his childlike nature, and even though he's an awesome guy to be around, he seems to annoy people after a while. So much so that even geeks call him a geek, Ethen explained. I knew there was something about him that annoyed me, Emily said. To be fair, Rory kind of annoys us too, Benny said. Benny! Ethen said, slapping Benny's arm. Ow, what was that for? Benny asked, and Ethen pointed to us with his head. Oh, right. They can hear us, Benny said, feeling ashamed. We heard that, Mabel said. This geek's got ears, guys. And feelings, Rory said. Don't worry about Benny. Like Emily, he seems to speak before he thinks, I said, giving Benny a hateful look. Okay, I kind of deserve that one. Sorry, Rory, Benny said. Apology accepted. Come on, girls. Jane wants to play another round of Dance Dance Revolution, Rory said. Let's show them what we're made of, I said. After that, you really need to tell me where you learned to dance like that, Rory said. I'm self-taught, but it helps being a professional performer, I said. You're a professional? Mabel asked. I'll tell you later, I said. You know, for a 10-year-old, you are awesome, Rory said. Thanks, Rory. That means a lot coming from you, I said, trying to hide the fact I was blushing. Anyway, as I was saying, Rory does annoy us from time to time, but we can't imagine our life without him. He's become a little brother to me. I do worry about him from time to time, though. Hopefully this year will be different. We'll be popular, and no one will call us geeks again, Ethen said. Good luck, bud. High school is like a battleground. One false move and you're dead, Emily said. I'll take note of that, Ethen said. Don't listen to Emily and you'll be fine. Just be yourselves, and I'm sure you'll make friends naturally. And if you don't, then they were never your friends to begin with, Amy said. Thanks, Amy. Hey, you girls still down with hanging out with us tomorrow? Ethen asked. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Mostly because we live 5 minutes down the road, and we've got nothing else going on, Emily said. Great, see you tomorrow afternoon, Ethen said. Tomorrow afternoon? Don't you mean tomorrow night? Emily asked. Well, I think Dakota and Mabel would want to hang out with Rory since he can't stay for the night, Ethen said. You're right, they would want to be with him. All right, afternoon it is. Come on, girls, it's time to go, Emily said. Already? Mabel asked. Mabel, we've been here for almost 2 hours, Cindy said. No, they're right. I've got to go too. I'll see you guys tomorrow, Rory said. Bye, Rory, I said. Love you, Mabel said, making him smile. I love you guys too. Come here, Rory said, hugging us both. See you tomorrow, I said, and we left. Back at home, Emily and Amy were getting dinner ready while Cindy, Chloe, and Lizzie were checking the pets. So, how are the pets? I asked, seeing them climb the stairs. They're doing great. The eggs are cracking a little and we see a little bit of movement. They should be hatching soon, Cindy explained. Sounds great. Anyways, dinner's ready. Come and get it, Emily said. Are you excited to hang out with Ethen and Benny tomorrow night? Amy asked. You bet I am. They're becoming my type of crowd, I said. Though Sarah and Erica are really nice too, Mabel said. Yeah, they are. But I still think there's something off about Jesse, Emily said. I admit, I think there's something off about him too. But I still think you're paranoid, Amy said. Actually, I think Emily might be onto something. And I think it's more than paranoia, I said. Even if there is something wrong, I don't think we should get involved until we know what it is. We are not saving the world right now. We're home, safe, and sound. Okay now, let's finish eating. We have one more day of summer vacation left. Let's make it count, Amy said. Okay, Amy, we said. The next morning, all of us were lounging around in the living room trying to think about what to do. So, what do you want to do today? Amanda asked. Well, we could catch a movie, I suggested. Dakota, you hate the theater, Amy said. Who says we'd be watching it at a theater? I replied. She's right. Anyone up for a vampire movie marathon? Mabel suggested. No! We exclaimed. Sheesh, just asking, Mabel said. Sorry, Mabel. We're not really vampire fans. Though you can still have your marathon, Amy said. I can? Mabel said excitedly. Yeah, upstairs in your room, Emily said. Ah, Mabel said. Come on, guys. Mabel's just excited about the dust screening next week. Can't blame her for that, I said. I guess you're right. But why don't we just relax today? We're hanging out with the boys later this afternoon, and it's the first day of school tomorrow. So let's just kick back and relax, Emily said, just as someone knocked at the door. Who could that be? I asked. I wasn't expecting anyone, Amy said. Do you think Ethan wanted to hang out with us early? Chloe suggested. Could be. I'll get it, Emily said, opening the door to be greeted by Sarah and Erica. Sarah? Erica? What are you doing here? We wanted to know if you wanted to come to the mall with us, Sarah said. The mall? I've been meaning to go there, Amy said. I mean, if you guys have other plans, we don't mind, Erica said. Well, we were hanging out with our other friends today. But sure, we can hang out today. If that's all right with everyone else, Emily said. Sure. I don't mind. It will be great to get to know each other better, Amy said. I'm in, Lizzie said. All right, it's settled. Let's go, guys, I said. So, why did you want to invite us again? Emily asked. We have some back-to-school stuff we need to grab, and we figured you needed some too, so we wanted you to come with us, Sarah explained. Well, that was nice of you to think of us, Sydney said. Yeah, I didn't even bring school supplies. I've been homeschooled for a few years, I said. Well then, it's a good thing we're coming along, Emily said. Sarah told us the mall itself was nothing special. And she was right. The mall itself wasn't as big as we were used to, but it made sense considering Whitechapel is a small town. Wow, this place is really cool, Amy said. Mimi, have you ever been to a mall before? Emily asked. I mean, it's not like Flipside has good clothes shopping, Mimi replied. We'll take that as a no, Amanda said. Glad you like it. It's nothing special, but at least they have live shows here, Erica said. Live shows? Hey, Emily, do you think you can get us a gig here? Mimi asked. Sorry, Mimi, but I don't think they'd hire a group of kids performing Alvin and the Chipmunk songs, Amy replied. Come to think of it, I don't think we've ever been paid, I realized. Well, all of the gigs was to boost morale, Amy said. And we're still starting out, Chloe said. Anyway, let's show you around, Sarah said. For the next hour, Sarah and Erica showed us around the mall and stores. It was nice spending time with them, even though most of us weren't their age. It didn't seem to bother them. Not long before lunch, Erica and Emily sat down for a break of walking around. Erica was reading a fashion magazine she brought, and Emily was drinking a smoothie. Man, if only I could look as good as the girls wearing those clothes, Erica said. Nah, I've seen better, Emily said. Who, the girls or the clothes? Erica asked. Both, she replied. They call that the latest fashion. It looks like trends from 2009, Emily said. This is from 2009, Erica said. Never mind, Emily said. Well, since you're so good with fashion, how could I look that pretty? Erica said. Ah, fashion, huh? All right, I can help you. Make sure you write this down. First, throw away everything you own and buy a new wardrobe. Second, change everything about yourself. It's fake it till you make it, sister. And finally, this is the most important part. listen close. Disregard everything I say because, girl, you're beautiful just the way you are. Emily said. Gotta admit, you got me, Erica said. Why do you care about the way you look anyway? Whatever happened to it's inside that counts, Emily said. The thing is, ever since I was a kid, I've always been pushed around, bullied, laughed at, and it's worse now that I'm in high school. Because I'm a geek, I'm an easy target. So I thought if I changed the way I look, then maybe people would be nicer to me. I never realized that. I'm sorry, Erica, but if it makes you feel better, Ethen, Benny, and Rory have that problem too, Emily explained. Of course they do. They're geeks too. But ever since Dust came out, I've always wanted to become a vampire. They're cool, popular, have superpowers, Erica said. And are emotionless husk, Emily pointed out. True, but if I had those powers, then I could make all those bullies suffer, like they made me suffer, Erica said with a dark tone in her voice. That made Emily worried. Don't you think that makes you no better than the ones who wronged you? Emily asked. You're right, it does, but the idea is always fresh in my mind. Especially since Sarah's my only real friend, and now she started avoiding me, Erica said. What makes you say that? Emily asked. A few weeks ago, Sarah started acting strange. She's been dating Jesse for a few months, and recently she's been hanging out with him more, skipping classes, and doesn't even text me anymore. And worst of all, something's wrong and she won't even tell me about it, Erica explained. Maybe it's something personal. You might be her best friend, but it's not always your business to know what's going on in her life. Maybe she doesn't want you to get hurt, Emily explained. You're right, but I still wish she'd open up about it, Erica said. You said Sarah's been hanging with Jesse more, right? Emily asked. Yeah, Erica replied. My bad feeling about Jesse just got worse. Even if you don't believe me, there's something off about that guy, Emily said. Yeah, you said that before. If it's true, be careful. I know we just met, but I don't want you getting hurt, Erica said. Please, I'm already dead. Can't kill someone who's already dead. But we'll keep an eye on Sarah, Emily said. Hey, Emily, I think it's time to go. Dakota and Chloe are getting tired. Plus, Mimi's getting past her spending limit. And I just got a text from Ethen. He wants to know if we want to have lunch with him, Benny, and Rory, Amy explained. Okay, sounds good to me. You girls want to come? Emily asked. No thanks. Today is our girl day, Erica said. You girls have fun with your other friends, though, Sarah said. Thanks. We had a lot of fun today. We'll see you tomorrow, I said. We walked out with Sarah and Erica and made our way to the place we agreed to meet Ethen, Benny, and Rory at. Hey, boys, I greeted. Hey, Dakota, how's my best friend doing? Rory asked. I'm doing great. I've been having a lot of fun with my new friends, I said. That's great. I'm happy to see you're feeling more at home. And it looks like you've done some shopping, Ethen said. Yeah, we were invited to the mall this morning. Tomorrow is the first day back at school. We figured some back-to-school shopping was in order, Emily said. Plus, shopping for clothes is not something I pass up on, Amy said. I can see that. Come on inside. We'll get you guys something to eat, Ethen said. Sounds great. Thanks, Ethen, I said, heading inside. All of us ate with the boys. Not long after that, they decided to show us around town a little before heading back to Ethan's house. Wow, despite the fact this town is small, it's got a nice charm to it, I said. Yeah, it does. But I will warn you, it gets boring here after a while. Nothing ever happens around here, Ethen explained. Well, either way, we're fine with that. Nothing happening is what we need, Emily said. It's true. We've been saving the world so many times, we rarely get time to relax. It's the reason I thought coming here was a good idea, Amy explained. Well, if you're looking for some downtime, you came to the right place. But you also came here for school, so don't expect to get too relaxed, Benny said. Hey guys, we're almost at my house. I'm going ahead to tell my parents we're here, Ethen said. Okay, Ethen, we said. Heading inside, we immediately started having fun with the boys, playing video games in the living room. A few hours later, we see it's almost time for dinner. Would you girls like to stay for dinner? Ethen asked. That sounds generous, but we don't want to overstay our welcome, Amy said. Oh, don't be silly. Mom usually doesn't mind having my friends staying for dinner, Ethen said. As nice as that sounds, I think we should eat at home. But we'll be back, Emily said. All right, suit yourself, Ethen said. Actually, I need to head home too. Grandma made my favorite. Plus, I forgot to bring some things. I left them at my house, Benny said. Cool. What were you going to bring? I asked. You'll have to wait and see, Benny said, smiling. All right, after dinner, You're more than welcome to come back and hang out with Benny and me, Ethen said. That sounds great. Thanks, Ethen. You're a really good friend, I said. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. Ethen, dinner's almost ready, and Rory, your mom called. She wants you home for dinner in an hour, Mrs. Morgan said. Thanks, Mrs. Morgan. Guys, thanks for the fun time. Can't wait to make more memories this year with you guys, Rory said. I can't wait either. I'm going to have the time of my life with you, Rory, I said. Hey, are you sure you're okay with us staying here while you and Ross are on your date? Emily asked. Yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine. You can help Ethen look after Jane. As long as you stay out of trouble, it'll be fine, Mrs. Morgan said. Alright, as long as we don't get too crazy, we'll be fine, Emily said. Don't worry, we're pretty responsible. Things will be just fine, Amy said. I'm glad we can trust you. Now, you better get going before it's too late, Mrs. Morgan said. Thanks, Samantha. We'll see you soon, Ethen, Cindy said. We left with Rory, and after saying goodbye to him, I couldn't help but feel a little sad seeing him go. After dinner, we headed back to Ethan's house for some fun with Ethen and Benny. But unknown to us, things wouldn't be as relaxing as we thought. Head out the door, we ran into Benny. Hey, Benny, what's in the bag? I asked. Oh, just a little dessert. Remember the things I left at my place? Well, this is it. I'll show you when we get there, Benny said, walking back to Ethan's house. We started getting more and more excited. When we got there, Amy knocked on the door and Mrs. Morgan answered it. Oh, there you girls are. I was wondering if you changed your minds, Mrs. Morgan said. We would never miss a chance to hang out with our friends, I said. Well, come on in. Ross, we better get going before all the good lanes are gone, Mrs. Morgan called out. Okay, I'm coming. You guys behave now and have fun, everyone. We'll be home in a few hours, Mr. Morgan said. We will. Have a good bowling night, Emily said. We will, they said. We headed inside and greeted Ethen and Jane. Hey, Ethen. Hey, Jane, I said. Hey, Jane. What you watching? Mabel said, seeing Jane was watching Dusk. You're watching Dusk? Mabel asked. Yeah, both movies are on tonight. Want to watch? Jane asked. You know I do. It looks like I got my marathon after all, Mabel said. So boys, what do you have planned for tonight? Well, first things first, how about a little treat? Benny said, unloading a bunch of junk food from his bag. Whoa! Look at all this stuff! Where'd you get all this? I asked, amazed. Yeah, what'd you do? Rob an ice cream truck or something? Ethen asked. Tomorrow, we officially join the high school brotherhood. We are men! We must mark the moment, Benny said. Let's make this the Sunday to end all Sundays, Ethen said. Let's make this the best Sunday night ever! Emily exclaimed. CMs, and you said it would be lame hanging out with geeks, I said. Look, I don't care how geeky these kids might get. You have to admit, high school students know how to party. Now let's have some fun up in here, Emily said. Hey, can I get in on this? Mabel asked. Sure thing, girlfriend. Come on in, I said. Woo! Emily shouted. Remember grade 5 when you put 176 of these in your mouth? Ethen asked, holding up a bag of marshmallows. Yeah, right. It was 186. Benny corrected. No way. I did 172. You did 176. Ethen said. You barely hit 150. Benny said, taking the bag from him. And the novelty has worn off, Emily said. Hand me one of those bags. I want to stuff my face till my braces need to be replaced, Mabel said. Just then a strange thumping sound was heard coming from outside. Ethen, do you hear that? Jane asked, but we didn't hear her over our own excitement. Teenagers really are dumb, Jane said. Hold on, Jane. Haven't you watched any horror movies? When the main character goes outside in the middle of the night to investigate a strange sound, they almost always get killed. You're not going anywhere without a buddy. Now come on, let's see what's going on out there. Hey, we're going outside to investigate a strange thumping sound, Emily said. Okay, Ethen said with a mouthful, half listening. Hey, what is that sound? It's starting to drive me crazy, I asked. Could be anything. A dog, a raccoon, some jerk hitting tennis balls with his hockey stick on Ethan's garage. Dude needs to get a life, Benny said. 2 minutes later, I started staring out the window. For some reason, I started thinking about Rory and wishing he was here. Cindy noticed this and came to my side. Who are you thinking about? Cindy asked. No one. What makes you say that? I replied. Come on, I know you like him. Out with it. You're thinking about Rory again, Cindy said. Okay, fine, I am thinking about him. It's just, I never felt this way towards a boy in a while. It just feels so new. Even though I've been in love before, it feels different for some reason, I explained. Well, you're getting older, and you're starting to understand what relationships are. Rory is just attracted to you because you're starting to realize the kind of boys you're into, Cindy explained. I guess you're right. Even though I'm still really young, at least I know what I want in someone, I said. Yeah, that's one way to put it. Hey, where's Emily and Jane? I thought they would be back by now, Cindy said. You're right. They have been gone for a while. Maybe we should start looking for them? Ah! After I said that, we heard them screaming. Ha! Emily! I said. Jane? Ethan asked. Ethan! We heard Mrs. Morgan shout. Ethan and Benny ran outside to see Emily, Jane, and Ethan's parents. Hey, you're home early? How was date night? Ethan asked. Hey, what's with all the commotion? Oh, boy, I said, seeing Ethan's parents. Well, this has been fun, but I think we should be going now. Come on, babes, let's go! What? No? But the movie was getting to the good part, Abel called out. Let's go! See you tomorrow, Ethan, I said, putting on my backpack and taking off. Yeah, I think I should go too. Have a nice night now, Benny said, leaving as well. Well, I've got no explanation for what happened, so I'm just gonna go. Hey guys, wait for me! Emily shouted, running to catch up to us. Looking back, I could hear Ethan being scolded for what happened. Well, that was a disaster, I said. Well, better than what happened last month, Benny said. Last month? Benny, does this happen often? Emily asked. Depends on what you mean by often, Benny said. Benny! We shouted. Okay, fine. Yes, this has happened a few times, Benny said. Unbelievable. And here I thought Ethan was the responsible one, Emily said. Oh, he is. We just have our moments, Benny said. Anyway, we should head home. It's almost 9 o'clock. We have school in the morning, Amy said. Good night, Benny, I said. Good night, girls. See you tomorrow, Benny said. Back home, I was sitting on my window seat looking up into the night sky. I was excited to go to school tomorrow. I was also excited to see what other secrets this town hold. As I was looking up at the sky, I could swear I saw people flying up there. Wow, I must be more tired than I thought, I said to myself, getting into bed and falling asleep. Little did we know, our time in Whitechapel was about to be filled with danger, adventure, and supernatural weirdness.